Ooh.
Elliot, can you tell us what it was like making it to the state championship in chess?
The state championship was one of my finer moments. I won my first match, and then I was playing another person who was 10 times better, and they made a mistake, and I won that match, and I ended up with the top players in the country.
Are you bragging about chess back in middle school?
No, I wasn't bragging. I got lucky. I said
well, what you were doing is you were making moves that you had no idea that were good, that were really not good, but were throwing them off because there's like no way that someone this smart would make that move, even though you weren't smart.
Yes, and by the fact that I didn't have my parents with me made it where I was so confident that I didn't need the support. But then I got wiped out pretty quickly.
All right, let's do some chess trivia. Alex, do you want to go first?
Hit me.
What country did chess originate from?
Chess originated in...
I know this.
No, it's not your question. Okay. I'm going to guess that the smartest guys were Russian. We'll go with Russia.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
That's wrong. Elliot?
You said the smartest people are Russian. I don't know if this is correct, but I would go with India.
India was the right answer.
Pretty smart people.
Okay, I have another one here.
Okay. Patrick, fire off.
Well, this one's actually for Elliot, but Elliot, what Persian words does checkmate derive from?
Well, I know in Australia, it would be a form of saying checkmate.
What does it derive from?
Boom.
Killing the king?
No, it's 2 words, and it's in Persian.
Shazam?
Shazim. Is that correct? No?
No.
At no point did we think you were close to answering the question, and we are all now dumber for that response.
Thank you.
Remember, the king was Shah in Persian.
The fall of a kingdom?
No, we're looking for Persian words here.
I would have no idea. I don't speak Persian. How would I know?
Well, do you have chess history? If you knew chess history.
I don't speak
It's
Persian.
Shah Mat. Checkmate.
See, I said Shazam.
Yeah, you were close. Okay.
Translates to the king is dead.
Okay.
See? I have a little knowledge. I think I have a little more knowledge than
all right,
you.
so we're tied. Let's
It's
go.
your turn.
Okay.
Homie. You sure?
Boom.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, Alex. So now here's a question for you.
Yeah.
What piece now originally used to be a chariot?
Well, that would be what is the knight for 500, Patrick?
Wrong.
Oh.
You said it really confidently, though.
Elliot, do you know the answer?
The bishop?
No, it's actually the rook.
I knew that. I was going to go with the rook, too.
I
Boom.
looked at the rook and said bishop.
Elliot, can you tell me what chess piece used to be an elephant?
Elephant.
An elephant.
I would say the bishop.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, looking through these questions. All right, Alex, I'll give you an easy one. Let's
Boom! Just took his knight.
Okay, which chess piece became significantly more powerful in the 15th century?
I'm pretty sure that there was a war that involved a queen, and therefore my final answer is queen.
Correct.
I'm not sure my justification was right. All right, you guys want to see something? Watch this. Watch this. Check. Look, do you see you sweating a little bit? Now, I already have an advantage because I'm better than you. But you couple that, and now he's on the ropes. You touch, you have to move, right?
No, if I let go of
Are you sure?
Yeah, but I'm going to move it.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
I played my openings.
Boom! That's what we call
You had to look at that?
taking the rook. Patrick, got any more brain busters?
This one's actually for Elliot. Elliot, what was the original move limitation of the queen?
the queen could only move up and down.
No, it could actually only move one single square diagonally.
I would have never got that.
It's okay, bro.
Tick tock, tick tock.
Tick tock. And you don't stop. All right, let's open up the board because I want to beat your ass.
All right, for a winner takes all, we'll do closest to the correct answer. How many moves was the longest recorded chess game in a tournament?
5,489.
No, much lower.
2,000.
Well, why?
249 moves.
999.
269 moves.
Grace put me down.
Boom. I mean, you know what gets boring? Winning.
Check.
Damn it. I only have one move. You see how quick I move? It's because I got confidence. 3 steps ahead of you. I know where you're going to go. I can tell you where you're going to go. You want me to tell you?
No, you can tell me. I don't think you know.
I do know.
Okay.
3 steps ahead of you. Sure?
Okay.
Okay. Do you notice how Elliott has more grays than me?
I do?
Yeah.
Where? Like right here inside. In the back.
And when you put me in check, you have to call check.
I said check.
I'm on the run. He's got me on the run.
Check.
This is so dumb. You're so dumb. God, it's so easy. It's not even fun. Do you see the stress that is put into my brother versus the calm, collected me?
You're calm?
If this were DraftKings right now, they'd have me at minus 600.
I disagree. You are winning, but you're actually losing.
Oh, I love when my brother makes mistakes. There's no better feeling in the world. Boom, boom, boom. Did you forget about that guy? I think you did. I warned him. I did. Thank you very much. Oh, he's trying to get me on the run.
Check.
This king is on the move. Quite frankly, I think you may have primed in your middle school age of chess. And I'm just saying this to the audience or anyone's listening. Elliott plays a lot of chess. I would say what? Maybe 4 hours a day?
I'm trying to beat you quickly, therefore I made some incorrect moves. However, I don't believe that you have the knowledge right now to checkmate me. But you were the one that said you want to play fast.
All right. Check. Biatch. Where you gonna go? Where you gonna go?
I'm gonna go right there.
Oh, it's so fun when you win. No, I don't want to do that.
You picked up that piece though.
No,
you said the rules. If you touch the piece,
we said touch, not drop. Duh.
He said you can probably roll back. If you touch the piece, you have to move it.
No, I
didn't make that rule up. You said it.
No.
And I said no. If you keep holding it, you can do it. Now you said no. If you touch it, you have to move it.
Okay, fine.
Which isn't the rule.
Okay, fine.
I think that's checkmate.
No, it's not, loser. And by the way, if you call checkmate, it's not checkmate. You forfeit.
That's not true.
Yes, that is true. Patrick,
you can make a move.
No, well, I know I can make a move.
It's check.
Yes, but that could arguably be a forfeit.
I didn't. I said I think
it could arguably.
No.
Yes.
Not in the rules.
Yes.
Someone's a sore loser, right?
That could arguably be a checkmate.
Someone's a sore loser, and that is officially checkmate.
Well, hold on, no, 1 second. It is definitely not checkmate. I think sometimes you want to make your twin brother feel good about something. And when you make a stupid error and lose, there can be benefits from that. And that is, I see you smiling and grinning, but I know I'll beat you next time. Patrick, the question is, who taught us chess? I will give credit to my English mother, who thought that chess would be good for us in middle school and thought that it was a good way to kind of, I don't even necessarily say meet people, but also like do something that worked on our mental.
I think I've always said if I have kids or people who do have kids, teaching them chess is a great way of teaching them sort of life lessons from a standpoint of, You want to be aggressive when you're in a good spot. You want to retreat when you're being attacked and you're not in a good spot. And so you're constantly thinking strategy. And then in order to win, you got to think 3 or 4 steps ahead, which is the same way in life of trying to do it. At least if you're an entrepreneur or something business-wise and or you're working through things. So I think chess teaches you a lot without even knowing it.
Well, and that's a great answer, but Patrick didn't ask you that question. He asked you who taught you chess.
No, but I worked into, I think it was good that our mother, Josephine,
who doesn't necessarily know how to play chess,
Doesn't know how to
told
play.
us that we should play chess. I like to say, and I think it's so important, it's back to play. I think so many times I have lost, what that play is and going 100 miles an hour, and we joke about it and we have fun, and this is healthy competition. This is fun. But,
I mean, you did splash the...
well, actually I did, and I slipped, I fell, and now I don't know where the pieces are. So, but at the end of the day, I think that, an opportunity to kind of let go of all the BS surrounding you in this world and kind of, get lost in something that's totally different, has no financial gain, really is just fun or should be fun. It's important for me because I think I lose that. And I think when you take it to be a strategy, it's even more fun, right? Because now we're not talking about random luck. We're talking about actually getting a skill that could make you better than someone.
Well, and you have to focus, right? If you're answering your phone or you're doing something else, you have to get your mind thinking. For me, it was very helpful, and still is, because even during the day, I play online against friends, and it keeps me active. It keeps my mind active. And I can tell you right now, both the people I play are much better than me, but it's sort of like an internal challenge. But I agree with you. Play is something that you lose sometimes very easily, and it's what almost feeds the cycle of feeling good, whether you're working, whether you're doing other things, or you are having fun.
Yeah, and this is true play. But I remember I called you when you were in treatment. I don't know, almost now 9 months ago, and you told me that you were filling your days with chess. And even I'd call and check on you, and like, Elliott can't talk right now. He's playing chess. He loves it. Do you think that like you have a deeper rooted sense just to this game because of that?
Yeah, I think again when I wanted my mind to not think of things, literally just to be in the present, it allowed me to stay in the present. And even at times I was teaching people, and I still enjoyed that process because it is a strategy game. And I think a lot of people say, get a hobby, right? Get something you love. And it could be playing video games. It could be riding horses. It could be anything. And I think I've been slow to try and choose my hobby. I've learned that I do love chess. Actually, I play it a lot more. You said 4 hours a day. I don't know how many hours a day, but enough where it's not work, but I do enjoy it. So it's sort of become my hobby, but I think I didn't know it would, right? And there's still things I still want to find a hobby past chess. And I think that's great. And when I say hobby, a play hobby, something that I just enjoy and I lose myself doing it. And then I could start it and not know that 3 hours later I'm still doing it. That happens a little bit of chess, more 10, 15 minutes where I'll get lost in a move, but it's nice. It's a nice mental break too. I think sometimes you're putting such pressure and you're trying to overthink things. And for me, I was overthinking things. So it brought me back to, this is right in front of you, and a strategy.
Yeah, and I think when you were working on yourself, as you said, like it was the ability to when you were playing chess, you couldn't overthink. You weren't thinking back in the past. You had to be a mind on the board. Otherwise, you're going to make a stupid move, or you had to think of your next move, etc. So this game in itself has kind of been almost like a form of, treatment or mental reprieve.
Well, and it's also against someone, right? So it's a little bit, right? There is community in that, right? So yeah, it's been good for me, and I say, luckily you play, right? It's nice to play someone that is of the same skill as you, because then you get competitive matches. But yeah, I think people say read books, right? Or go on walks or do this. In the end, it's do whatever relaxes you.
Yeah, and I see you sitting on your phone. I mean, it's funny. I actually like it because instead of you scrolling through Instagram 24/7, I'm like, what are you doing? And I see you just looking at a chessboard. You're like, I'm playing Brian, I'm playing Cyrus, I'm playing Alec. You have these people that you're playing, and it's got your mind keep on moving. And it is a healthy distraction, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's really it's nice in that manner. And it's something I'm continuing to do. But I think in general, it also just creates banter, creates, like you said, let's set a time, let's play, let's do it, right? That's how you consistently can play. I think if you're not scheduling it, we did it with pickleball even. Every Tuesday night, let's play pickleball at 6:00. And it just helps you look forward to something, or it puts things on your schedule that you know you're going to do with others. And I think sometimes when you're going through some mental health stuff, you think you're very much alone and you feel very lonely. And the truth is, a lot of people are going through things. By engaging with them, even if it's just play, sometimes they'll be brought up that, hey, this is bothering me or not, right? There's just a connection in that. So I say, whether it's chess, whether it's pickleball, whether it's ping pong, I watch the Koreans play the Chinese on the Olympics. They're, my game's strong. That would be fun also.
Play ping pong. Yeah, I'd probably beat you in ping pong.
It'd be a good match.
Yeah, and but in all seriousness, I feel that you're right. Getting in front of people can create that accountability too, right? So if I sit across from you and play a chess match for 30 minutes, doesn't have to be a ton of banter, but we can look in each other's eyes or talk about other things, or just it's a little bit of holding accountable, right? And so that is the play that we're talking about. And I also think we have to put ourselves in a place to get lost in a moment, right? Not always, right? It'd be idealistic to just happen all the time, but when you're struggling, you're talking about actually planning that. And that's
and I think, someone talked to me the other day about a person that was struggling, and they said the biggest problem is they're still playing the victim. And they actually are the victim. They had something very bad done to them, and unfortunately there's some legal issues with it, but it's gone on for years, and he's still playing the victim instead of saying, this happened and how do I move forward? And sometimes how do I move forward is just, she said he went out on Saturday night, this person, and she said it was so good for him just to go out. It would be so good for him just to work out with another person, not by himself. It'd be so good to do that because it puts you in the momentum of saying, I'm not sitting and saying, no, I don't want to play chess. I'm going to bet, I'm sad. It's, no, I'm engaged. I'm involved. And I think just the littlest things, at least for me, and you actually said it to me, it's not going to be one monumental thing. You think one thing's going to happen, all of a sudden, boom, you're switched. And it doesn't happen like that. It's the little things that you don't even recognize get you to the spot where you're like, oh, that was the monumental thing. It was all these little things. So yeah, and I think, again, for us, chess is fun because we can banter and we can also talk about life. And it's competitive. So it sort of hits all things that we like to do.
Which is also different because at one point you were playing like a casino game, but it involved no one else. And I see that. So it's the idea that you're involving someone else in your play. It's creating a little bit of a community. It's creating a hobby. It's creating more people that you surround yourself, and it's bringing you back to joy with other people you might otherwise not have had.
100%. And that's where I think I got stuck a little when it said you need a hobby. You need to get a hobby. And for me, it was like, well, I love F1 and I love my simulator and figuring out how to drive as fast as I can, but it's by myself. And so when I'm doing it, what I learned is it wasn't as rewarding. If I could get someone to drive next to me, yeah, I'd do it because it's doing things with others. That's for me. So I learned like my hobby really is involved with, I can get good at it myself, but it's a team sport probably.
Yeah,
or it's
but
something
I think that transpires over also to business. I look at myself and I say, when I come up with a good deal, I want to do it with a friend rather than myself. When you're building your company, whether it's your roofing company or painting company, you want to share that with the employees. You're not saying, Elliot, let's go celebrate a big job and do it by yourself. So I think it does coincide with it. It's so easy to see it on the business side to say, okay, let's have people support and celebrate wins on the business side. But you lost, and I can say sometimes too, I lost the fun on the B column side. And the funny thing is, that's where you and I actually want to grow and can grow. A is easy for us. We could do business deals tomorrow and call each other and great. The idea is, can we get lost in play together and also together, just us two, right? Yeah. Because I think sometimes when we brought other friends, there's a unhealthy competition to that, right? Of, well, who's closer to that friend, or who's getting more attention, or do they like that person more? And it's very subconscious. It's not like ugly in front of your face, but it doesn't allow us to connect as well because we kind of have this thing that, oh, I know Elliot's always going to be there. He lives down the street. I can call him at any time. But then I lose a little bit of well, I'm not really giving Elliot attention that I'd give to Andrew or Munir. And is that fair? And then you feel like I slighted because you're like, you're not being a great friend to me. You're kind of just being.
Yeah. And I think that's communication, right? At least between us, we've communicated that where there wasn't animosity, but it was, call it different, right? And it's talking through it to be like, yeah, I enjoy it a lot more. I think I've seen from you, and I even said it the other day when you're on the golf course, I don't think you picked up your phone once, or you did to play music, where previously you'd spend it. They called you Alex the Phone Perry when you're on the golf course, right? I mean, literally that was your nickname. And it didn't.
I thought it was Alex multiple birdies and eagles.
No,
Perry.
It was Alex trying to get a deal done, Perry, which was fine because no one's ever going to call you out for business, right? Especially, your business, and it does take around the clock support, right? But you've seen that, and you've seen that you're not giving people attention, or you're not even giving yourself the ability to have fun. It changes the culture, the atmosphere, right? So yeah, if it's on the golf course, it's like, yeah, there's focus. There's not something else taking away. And I think, you even mentioned it, and it's a little sidebar, but you were talking to a girl, and while she was talking, she picked up her phone and looked at her Instagram, right? And you're like, that's the biggest turnoff I could ever have. And I get it. I was like, yeah, right? Like, not focused, not there. So I think in general, and I think people are addressing this social media wise, is they're glued to their phones. And I looked up the other day when I was in a restaurant, and 8 of the 10 people that I could see were on their phone. And I think we're doing a good job of seeing that, call it early, and getting away from that feel. I think our friends are similar, right? We're all saying, let's get rid of our phones. Let's interact.
Well,
it can be difficult.
It takes one person to kind of initiate, and the second person to say, hey, everyone give us your phones at dinner. Let's put them over here, or get off your phone, or let's be present, right? And I think part of it is being aware, which you're talking about. You're talking about being lost in the moment, or being in moments, not even lost in moments, if I'm going to sit here and play chess against you, play chess against me. Let's not be on our phones, right? Let's not pick up a phone call. It'll be there. And I think once you get into that pattern and you like it, that's the idea of it. I give other people credit, and sometimes I give it to Europeans who live a laid back lifestyle, right? But I think they do things with greater intent. And the idea is, if they go to a restaurant, they're there to eat. If they go to a nightclub, they're there to dance. If they go to listen to music, they're there to listen to music. If they're playing a board game, they're playing board games. It doesn't have to be. It could be if you're playing a video game. It doesn't matter. The idea is that you're connecting with what you've chosen to do, not going through the motion because you think it'd be good for a post, or good because you're like, oh, I should be doing this, or just checking it off the list. And I think you and I have learned, I would even take that another place, is that we go to dinner with, we go to lunch with our dad 3 times a week. When we go to lunch, as opposed to taking 7 phone calls, we don't. We're there to hang out with him. Our time with him may be limited. And so it's the idea that you don't want to regret to say, well, I wish I was more present.
Yep.
I wish I'd seen that more. And what I think is so incredible is, as we were at lunch with him the other day, he said to us, from listening to one of our podcasts, he learned something. And he learned in the wildest manner that out of all the things he's done in his life, and he's had a crazy life, he wishes he had been more present in moments and not gone from one thing to the next to the next. And I think when you hear that, especially from your father, you're like, slow down, right? Slow down, be mindful, be present. Life's funny. I say it doesn't give you a warning when it's going to uppercut you, right?
Yep.
And today you and I sit across from each other, healthy, happy, bantering, having fun. Tomorrow that's not given. So as you look at this opportunity, take it.
Yeah.
Take it. Everything on that phone will be there. I promise you tomorrow. It'll be there in 10 minutes.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, again, you put it the right way. It takes one person in a group, right, to set that sort of standard, right? To be like, I was at dinner the other day, and it was me and a buddy, and there was 5 other girls. And they
How
literally,
good for you.
I know. Well, I know, but it was good for me until I'm sitting down at dinner and everyone's on their phone. And so literally I took everyone's phone away and said, here's the game. Whose phone is which based off the case they have, right? And so people are like, analyzing the cases, trying to see it. But it was a way to literally get everything off that. And then even within that, it was a game to communicate. Everyone loved it. And after we were done, all the phones stayed aside. But it sort of took one person to be like, this is sort of ridiculous. Like, why are we all at dinner? Yes, you're going to communicate or have conversations, but it's so,
Yeah, it's breaking a pattern.
it's not even, it's so surface level, right? How can you have a good conversation when you're halfway looking at your phone or looking at text? So for me, I think, yeah, that's big. And one person, even through this podcast, I think you're trying to even show that and say that is like, you can change, and you can change also in a day. I through this podcast, I have a lot of people reach out to me and say, you know, I'm feeling this way. When do I start? Or
Feeling what way?
just feeling like, whether it's mental health, whether it's one person I know really well said he's taken Adderall for 5 years and it hasn't been working for 2 years, and he's been miserable every day since. And he's like, I'm thinking about doing this in a month. I'm like, just so you know, every day you don't start is a day you lose, right? And that's, in that sense, in a good way, every day he starts is a new path forward. And it could be, for him, it's a big thing, right? On other sides, I've had days or points where I'm like, I know I was wrong in how I handled that. I wish I handled that differently, or I didn't know how I was looked at, and I get it. Can't change it, but the next day you can say, I remember this or did this. And I sort of did that on going into the trip we just had to Italy. Was I sort of prepared myself for just different circumstances and said, in the past, this is how I've done it. I'm going to do the exact opposite, even though it's going to feel very uncomfortable. And I did that a lot, but I planned in my head, and it ended up being
Well,
comfortable.
give me an example of that.
I think we just went on a trip to Italy, and we were all on a boat. There was 10 of us, and at times I'd have just time by myself, or there'd be a little bit clicky, or just memories of a past trip, right? And I knew all those things. And again, it was an amazing trip, but I sort of planned, if something goes right, we have 10 people on the boat, right? And you're in not close quarters, but quarters, and I'd say there was no drama whatsoever on the boat between anyone, which is amazing. But for me, it was, even knowing you have 10 people on the boat and there are going to be 10 different personalities.
But give me an example of how you said with you and I, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You said, I've got to make a different decision that may be uncomfortable, but I'm not going to create the same pattern that I have in the past.
So for instance, if it was your show, right? And when it's your show, sometimes it's a lot of work, but it's also,
meaning I'd planned the
you
vacation.
plan it, so it's like, okay, what does Alex want to do? Well, some of the guests, what is, where's he going, right? And it's like, the competitive side used to be, or equal side of us would be like, well, why wouldn't you say, what does Elliott want to do? But it's learning that it's because you've organized it, because you've done it, not to get upset by it, right? To say, no, this is normal. And, or if we learned right before is, I'm having a good time, just because I'm not partying, right? Or jumping up and down and smiling doesn't mean I'm not having a good time. And it would be like, you'd look at me and you're like, what's wrong? And I'd be like, everything's perfect. And I think that's where, again, I planned for that, and we planned for that, and it kept us in a really good.
Yeah. And I think what you're saying is, in the past, we would be concerned with each other's moods to the point where we were questioning whether you were having a good time or I wasn't, as opposed to just letting it be and seeing how it played out. We didn't need to mirror each other's energy or
Correct.
mood, or et cetera. And it took time, and it took actually checking each other previously to then decide. And then when we saw it actually work, it gives you confidence. And I think going back to what you're saying is, and what I would say is, anytime you have the opportunity to make a change, especially if you realize you don't like the decision you made previously, that gives you confidence, and it can give you energy. And only if you're aware of it can it. The person you just said who's dealing with some, mental health issues or Adderall, they have the choice tomorrow, the next day, to change that. If you've made a decision that you don't like, that you feel bad about, instead of sulking and being sad and being upset, there's two ways to think about it. There's that way, or it's the, okay, I don't like that. I'm going to make that change. And when you do, it makes you feel better when you initiate that change.
I think it's a little bit of ego, right? And I say that like I'm reading the book Ego is the Enemy, which is good. And it's sort of, you're checking yourself, right? And it's in a way of, you're making sure that things can go, like, for instance, each day you can start over in a sense of sometimes your pride gets in the way of that, right? And it's pride of, I don't want to admit I was wrong, or I don't want to admit that I can look at it different ways. And it's hard. Usually if you have a opinion on something, it usually takes 7 times someone to explain to you why it's wrong for you to try and switch that opinion from A to B, right? And it sounds 7 times is average, right? It could be 16 times and so it doesn't have to be that way. You can hear something from someone, listen, and the next day you wake up, implement it. And like you said, that's confidence, that's momentum. You reset every day if you don't make that change. Or when I say don't.
Well, and I think when it comes to us, because we've been working on it, it's something you and I have been really, really working on. And it has not been linear. I can tell you that, right? And it's also trust, right? So I get pissed when you say, Alex, you do this. I'm like, well, screw you, you do this. That's the natural reaction, right? And it took me, and I remember this too, it took me actually someone else coming to me and saying, hey, Alex, you're doing this to Elliott, and this is why he's reacting. And I was like, oh, you're right. You're right. And all of a sudden, when I've realized that, I'm like, shit, I want to change that. I wasn't necessarily going to have an opportunity in that moment, a little bit, but going forward, that was going to be the opportunity to change. And I think as we sit here and we play, right? That's the fun, is that we have the opportunity to grow. The growth comes from recognizing, where you can be different in a relationship that's never, friendship, brother, intimate, that's stopping you, right? And that's exciting, right? Because that's column B for me. That is all column B for me. Column B is so much community. Your community is different than me, but it is so much community. And so the ability to sit here and do this and just check out a little bit from everything that's going on, if you're looking at hourglasses, you could do an hour of column B right here, have it go up and say, all right, now it's time to go to work.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you can stay in column B. I think that's what I'm fighting the most, is getting to column B and then saying, oh, I've been in column B too long, I got to jump to column A. And when I get lost in column B, it's a beautiful thing. Or say, like, again, it's sort of, you're lost in the present, and or you're having a fun time playing chess, right? We said we're going to play one game, but you lose, and you're like rematch, and then you win the next game, and it's like, don't have to be here, but you're like, final match. Yeah, let's do a final match, right? Let's not run to something that I don't have to be at. Let's extend it an hour. For me, it used to be like, it's an hour, and I better leave 5 minutes before. And now you're tracking time, and you're not getting lost in it. And so,
I was embarrassed to say that I'd walk in places and say I have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing it in a necessarily, my time is more valuable than you. It was just that I could not manage my time. And I was thinking other things were more important than they were.
Yeah.
And it just takes time to realize that. I don't regret it. I do a little bit because some of it might have come across rude, but you can only learn. I'll go back to what we just said, and I think it's a good place to end. You can only learn and then make that decision to change the next time. Literally. And I think that's the beauty of learning. You cannot learn without failing, in my opinion. Like, you have to understand where your mistake lies to then fix it to grow. And that we have an opportunity every day, that just energizes me.
I couldn't agree more. In my ending, I'd just like to know, have you learned from this prior chess game that we just played on how not to get beat so quickly?
I learned a couple things. One, I learned that
I'm better.
For one game today, you were better. I did learn that. I learned that you like to interrupt me when I'm trying to understand, tell you what I learned. That also I've learned. Number two is, I got a little too arrogant. I got a little caught up in the chitter chatter talking instead of beating you to a pulp, and that won't happen again. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Alex Perry on Fire. It means so much to me and the wonderful team that makes this all possible. I'm now passing the flame to you. Please follow, like, and subscribe so you can always stay up to date. Thanks again, and stay fired up.